Hi, this is Bernie, your Uber elder. One of the Facebook groups I belong to that I do enjoy is called Join the Degrowth Revolution. And I think it's a well-intended, well-focused idea that we must stop our growth paradigm. You know, we have within our capitalist culture this need to keep growing the economy. We want everyone to improve their standard of living, living a greater energy lifestyle, which would be like raising your standard of living. Well, I think folks that recognize that that is impossible, that we can't have infinite growth on a finite planet, are on the right track, absolutely. And many of them are looking for ways to decrease their footprint, living off the grid, living with more homegrown food, living with less things, buying less things, all noble efforts. But the host and creator of this group keeps asking folks who want to focus on solutions on give us some lists, and he's given us his lists, and like a list of what you want your government to do, or a list that you can personally do to help this movement towards degrowth. Well, I believe the urgency of our situation here on the planet really requires that level of degrowth, which is sort of equivalent to the rate of growth, maybe reduce a few percent, maybe reduce even 10%, is nowhere near enough. In my book, we need to degrowth by orders of magnitudes. And for all practical purposes, that's called collapse. I say collapse our government. We don't need a centralized authority. We don't need a nation. We don't need the big military. By the way, our governments account in the United States for 2 Earths worth of a footprint for each individual who lives here. I can talk about the ecological footprint another time, but needless to say, if you lived completely off the land, hunted your own food, gathered your own food, made your own clothes, built your own shelter, took care of your own mobility, in the United States, you would still be living at 2 Earths, and anything short of 1 Earth is unsustainable, ultimately, given the population of the planet. And population is another matter I'll comment on. But consumption is the big problem that I see. And we need to stop making lists, stop believing that what we as individuals can do or what government as it's currently constituted can do, because government won't dissolve itself. People won't completely abolish their high energy lifestyles that are so powerful and seductive and give us great joy and pleasure. The things that we're willing to do are not enough. So I think, for me, the list would go something like this. Stop your doing. Stop making lists. Stop thinking that your personal actions are going to make a difference. I'd say top of the list of things to do is rethink. Let's define the problem. Let's have a common problem statement for the nation, for the planet, for the group that wishes to engage in serious discussion about how we're going to deal with the urgency, the emergency on the planet that our industrial civilization is doing to destroy it faster than we can progressively improve our lives out of it. So on the list is rethinking, because until we define the problem at a deep enough level, all of the doing that we're doing is a waste of time. And all of the thinking within the paradigm that assumes the government we have will continue, that the industrialization will continue. That gives you a limit to what we can ultimately think about in terms of trying to avoid the near-term human extinction, the mass extinction that we're clearly headed toward. So if we start thinking of a new paradigm that is more like indigenous culture and recognize that our industrial culture's paradigm can't be fixed, it must be rejected. And the first place to reject it is in our thinking. I find that most people cannot think outside of this industrial civilization's box. It provides a limit to what they feel they can do. And I for one, can't live outside of it sufficiently, but I certainly can think outside it. And so I'm asking to have a discussion, and I invite you to comment on this post on YouTube, comment on Facebook. Let's engage at a much deeper level. Let's engage to say we need a problem statement that is sufficiently deeply rooted enough that we can think about how we have to respond as an industrialized culture to save life on our planet. It's not a small task. Many would say it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. More later.